Hey everyone, welcome back to Kickstands Up Radio. Today we're diving into a topic that hits home for a lot of us in the motorcycle community. Simply, why people stop riding. It's something you see happen over the years. Friends who used to hit the road every weekend now selling their bikes, and on top of that, we're also asking a bigger question. Are true bikers a dying breed? Let's get into it right now.
Oh yeah, now this is a biker bar.
Welcome to Kickstands Up Radio, the podcast where we discuss all things motorcycles, from the latest gear to the best routes for your group ride. Here's your host, the Harley Hooligan, Rebel Rider Tony P, and he's here to rev up your engines and tickle your funny bone. So grab a cold one, pull up a leather seat, and let's ride into the hilarious world of biker culture. Just remember, if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much room in the garage.
Excuse me, I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds.
So let's start with the most common reason that people stop riding. Number one, health and safety. As much as we'd love to ride forever, age, health, or an accident can pull us off the bike. Take the story of a buddy I know. He rode his whole life, but after a few surgeries and a scare on the highway, he decided it was time to hang up his helmet. It's a tough call for anyone, but sometimes the body just says enough. One listener shared his story with me. After a crash, his family was constantly worried, and he didn't want to keep putting them through that, so he switched from 2 wheels to 4. He went from the bike to the cage. It's one of the hardest decisions for any rider. Another big reason people stop riding is finances. Listen, bikes aren't cheap to maintain. We all know this. Insurance, gear, and repair costs, they add up. Maybe priorities change. A new home, kids, bills piling up. Some people, they just can't justify the expense anymore. I remember another guy from a local riding group who had to choose. And his choice was between a new bike or a family vacation every summer. Eventually, the family won out. And hey, we get it. Family's family. Bikes are amazing. But life throws different priorities our way sometimes. And as much as we all love the lifestyle, family responsibilities can put the brakes on riding. When kids come along, when partners aren't comfortable with the risks, riding time can take a hit. One listener told us his story. He sold his bike to be more present for his young kids. Said he wanted to focus on being around for them. And that's a big sacrifice, but shows how much we're willing to do for the people we love. Some riders even mentioned how they promised their partners that they'd only ride on the weekends. Yeah, weekend warriors. And then found themselves cutting back even more over time. Listen, life just has its way of shifting priorities. Before we get on to our next segment, I'm going to drop this here for a word from our sponsor. Please pay rebelroadauthentic.com a visit and support small businesses. They are the ones that support us. At this time, we'd like to thank one of our sponsors, Rebel Road Authentic. If you're in need of any custom decals, including motorcycle helmet decals or tank decals, reach out to them at rebelroadauthentic@outlook.com. Or you can visit their website and message them directly. rebelroadauthentic.com. They have the largest selection of fonts available online and other unique one-of-a-kind gifts, personalized t-shirts, drink tumblers, and as a special gift to our listeners, if you use your coupon code RADIO at checkout, you will receive a 15% off discount. I want to ask, and I'd love your input. Please feel free to shoot us a message. We'd love to hear from you, of course. This topic is really simple. So let's tackle that bigger question. Are true bikers a dying breed? Some say that today's biker culture has changed. There are more weekend warriors than everyday riders. We see more riders who buy the gear but only go out on sunny days. Does that make them any less of a biker? Give me your answers. It's something we're curious to hear about from you, our listeners. I spoke with a longtime rider who's been on the road since the 80s, and he feels that the new generation doesn't have the same live to ride mentality. But does that mean biker culture is fading? Maybe it's just evolving. You know, like I said, we'd love to hear from you guys. Why do you think some people stop riding? And our true bikers are really... We'd love to hear from you guys. Why do you think some people stop riding? Are true bikers really a dying breed? Or are we just seeing a shift in the culture? I want to dive into an issue that's getting a lot of attention lately. Young sport bike riders and their higher accident rates. Why is it that we're losing more young riders on sport bikes? A lot of people, they're going to blame the speed of the bikes. And it's true. Sport bikes, they're built for performance, often packing way more power than some of these riders can handle safely. So, is it the bike itself, the feeling of being unstoppable, or just inexperience? A recent story that I was reading on Facebook mentioned a young rider. He was just 22, who lost control on a sharp curve. He wasn't wearing full gear, underestimated the bike's handling. For some, the speed and power are almost too tempting. And let's be honest, the feeling of freedom can lead to a little bit of a invincibility complex, especially when you're younger. Now, I'm not blaming just the bikes, and I'm not blaming the bikers. But, again, it's just not on the riders. There's a serious issue with other vehicles. They're not watching out for us on the roads. Cell phones, other distractions. They mean a lot of drivers aren't giving their road their full attention. And they're just missing sport bikes. Hell, for that fact, they're missing everyone. In these cases, it's not about the rider's age or experience or other drivers' lack of awareness. So, what are the actual numbers? I pulled some stats to get a little bit clearer picture of how sport bike riders fare compared to those on standard cruisers or interstate bikes. We know speed is often a factor with sport bikes, but how much of the issue comes down to the bike itself versus what's going on around them? I did search a few different sites to be able to get some stats for all of our listeners here, and the high fatality rate among young sport bike riders is very concerning. Several factors contributing to these accidents. Sport bikes, they tend to have that high performance engine, often capable of speeds that many young, less experienced riders may not be fully prepared to handle. This combination of high speed potential and adrenaline seeking can lead to overconfidence and risky behavior. Additionally, inexperience does contribute significantly. The studies that I've read show younger riders, particularly those aged 25 to 34, they're most at risk. 60% of the fatalities occur within that 25 to 54 age bracket. Highlighting experience does not always correlate with safe riding practices. Another leading factor is distracted driving by other road users, particularly from cell phone use, which poses a serious hazard for motorcyclists, and sport bike riders. Sport bike riders are often more challenging to see due to their smaller size, faster speeds, and the increasing likelihood of accidents with vehicles that fail to yield or notice them. Statistically, motorcycles have a much higher fatality rate than cars. For instance, in 2021, motorcycles had a fatality rate of about 60.03 per 100,000 registered vehicles, compared to only 12.53 for cars. The severity is amplified on sport bikes, which encourage higher speeds, making accidents more deadly in 2021. Nearly 30% of all motorcycle fatalities involved alcohol. Put them down, guys. I mean, seriously. There's no reason to pick up a drink while you're on two wheels. Absolutely none. If you're a bar hopper on a bike, man, prioritize. But this ain't a soapbox. This really isn't. You know, the risks were particularly elevated at night. Urban areas also present those added dangers. 2/3 of accidents occurring due to their complexity and unpredictability of city traffic. Overall, motorcycle fatalities have unfortunately been rising, reflecting both increased numbers on the road and higher inherent in motorcycling itself. Young riders, I'm going to urge you, much as you don't want to hear it, go out and get a safe riding education course. You know, it's going to promote awareness and it's going to reduce distractions. Maybe this could help improve these stats moving forward. But listen, y'all, I just want y'all to be safe and keep tuning in. You know, listen to our show. But again, guys, Kickstands Up Radio. We're here for the people. We're real. We're raw. Sometimes we say stuff that, you know, yet you don't want to hear. But we always listen. We listen to you. So, with that being said, that's it for today's show. Thank you for tuning in. And please, drop us a message. We'd love to hear from you. kickstandsupradio@gmail.com or follow us on Facebook, the Brotherhood of Bikers 2.0. Till next time, we'll see y'all. Keep the shiny side up and the rubber side down and the breeze between the knees. Peace out.